Welcome to the 1 Minute Apologist. Apologetics seeks to give credible answers to curious questions, to give a defense. How can God's presence calm my doubts? When I was in the Holy Land on one trip, I experienced a whole host of doubts. And you might think, how in the world can somebody struggle with doubts in the Holy Land? I know, I thought the same thing myself until I remembered, you know what? If Adam and Eve can struggle with doubt in the Garden of Eden, how much more can we in Paradise Lost? Well, as I was there, I was both incredibly affirmed by my faith and how wonderful it is that we can walk in the pages of Scripture. Yet at the same token, I had this inner gnaw of struggles that I was thinking through. In fact, I was struggling just thinking of all the Jews who don't know Christ, and I just grieved at the thought of it. Yet at the same token, I was affirmed by Romans 9 through 11 that the Bible predicted that this would be the case, yet torn by the reality of it. Maybe like Paul, how he talked about how that crushed his heart. Well, I was at the Garden Tomb, one of the supposed places where Jesus may have risen from the dead. Another place is the Church of Holy Sepulchre. But here, while I was at the Garden Tomb on the final day of the tour, I sensed God's presence out of nowhere, very thick upon me. Now, how do you do an apologetic on the presence of God or experiencing God? That's very difficult, but it was unexplainable and it was very real. I told our worship pastor in that moment, I believe God's given me a special message to share with our team at the moment when I'm about to deliver communion. I said, be prepared to lead a couple songs. And so therefore I went ahead and I began to talk to them from my heart about doubt and what it looks like and how it can sap you of your joy and how it can hinder your witness for Christ and so on and so forth, where you're not as bold and da. And I shared this with them. When I was done, different people began to share, man, thank you so much. You know, earlier we went to the Holocaust Museum and I was struggling with some doubts just thinking about all that suffering. And I had other people talk to me. Well, then we went to a farewell dinner. And as I was saying goodbye to different people at that farewell dinner, I gave this one lady a hug goodbye, and she was on her way with her husband to go off to Italy. But she said this to me. She said, Bobby, I want to thank you for talking to me about doubt. She said, I've been praying about that throughout the week, and I've been asking that God would help anybody on this team struggling with doubts. And she says, and when we went to the Wailing Wall, when I took my prayer, folded up, wrote it inside that piece of paper, and I put it in the wall, she says, I prayed that God would help me with my doubts. She says, I've been struggling, doubting the existence of God. Yet she believes in God, but that was that temptation to doubt. I was blown away because God in His goodness met me with His affirming presence. God has a way, if you'll seek Him and you'll cry out to Him, when you're genuinely just wrestling through some questions, to meet you, even if it's not the answer you get, it'll be the unexplainable presence that you cannot deny.